For over 2000 years, this land has witnessed history unfold. It is a place where mighty empires rose, where brilliant engineers built roads across continents, where laws shaped civilizations, and disciplined armies marched under banners that conquered much of the known world. Today, its ancient ruins still stand in modern England, welcoming millions of visitors every year. Each stone quietly preserves the legacy of Rome. But every great empire has its secrets, and beneath that glorious history lies a mystery that has remained unsolved for nearly 2000 years. History remembers Rome for its victories, for its emperors, and for the empire that reshaped the ancient world. But history doesn't always remember everything, because hidden among Rome's greatest triumphs is a mystery that has remained unsolved for nearly 2000 years. How does an entire Roman legion, nearly 5,000 elite soldiers, simply disappear? No final battle, no mass grave, no surviving record, revealing what truly happened. Only silence. This is the mystery of Rome's lost Ninth Legion. To uncover what happened, we must travel back to an empire unlike any the ancient world had ever seen. An empire that believed it was destined to rule forever. From a small settlement beside the Tiber River, Rome grew into a civilization that stretched across 3 continents. Its influence reached from the windswept hills of Britain to the scorching deserts of North Africa and deep into the mountains of the East. Every new conquest brought more land, more wealth, and more people under Roman rule. But Rome's greatest achievement wasn't simply the size of its empire, it was how it held that empire together. Thousands of miles of perfectly engineered roads, towering aqueducts that carried fresh water, magnificent cities built from stone, and laws that united millions beneath a single empire. To the outside world, Rome seemed unstoppable. Kingdoms fell before its advance, cities surrendered, entire civilizations became part of its growing empire. Yet none of this happened by chance. Behind every Roman victory stood an army unlike anything the ancient world had ever witnessed, disciplined, relentless, unbreakable. Among the dozens of legions that carried Rome's banner across the known world, one earned a reputation that inspired confidence among allies and fear among its enemies. Its soldiers fought beside great generals, survived impossible wars, and became one of Rome's most respected military forces. It was known as the Ninth Legion. Among Rome's many legendary legions, none carried a story quite like this one. Its name echoed across battlefields for generations. To Rome, it was a symbol of discipline, courage, and unwavering loyalty. It was known as Legio IX Hispana, the Ninth Legion. Long before it became history's greatest military mystery, the Ninth Legion had earned its place among Rome's finest fighting forces. These weren't ordinary soldiers, they were veterans, hardened by years of relentless warfare. Every march, every battle, every victory forged them into one of the empire's most respected legions. Their story reached back to the final years of the Roman Republic. They marched beside one of history's greatest military commanders, Julius Caesar. Together, they fought across Gaul, crossed dangerous rivers, stormed fortified cities, and stood beside Caesar during the civil war that changed Rome forever. As Rome continued to grow, so did the legend of the Ninth. They fought in Spain, helping crush fierce resistance during the Cantabrian campaigns. Years later, they crossed the sea to Britain, where an entirely new frontier awaited them. Britain was unlike any land Rome had conquered before. Dense forests, unpredictable weather, and fiercely independent tribes made every campaign a brutal test of endurance. But the Ninth Legion endured. Again and again, they proved why Rome trusted them with its most dangerous frontiers. Not every battle ended in victory. During the Great Rebellion, led by Queen Boudica, the Ninth Legion suffered one of the worst defeats in its history. Thousands fell, yet the survivors rebuilt their ranks, returned to the battlefield, and continued fighting for Rome. The Ninth Legion defended Rome's northern frontier. Its banners still flew proudly above its fortress at Eboracum, and nothing suggested that history was about to erase one of Rome's greatest legion. For decades, the Ninth Legion stood watch over Rome's northern frontier. Their fortress at Eboracum, modern day York, was more than just a military base. It was Rome's shield against the unknown. Beyond its walls lay wild forests, rugged hills, and tribes that refused to bow before the empire. Every sunrise began the same way. Patrols marched north. Messengers rode between distant forts. Blacksmiths repaired swords and armor. Life continued, as it always had. To everyone stationed there, it was just another day on Rome's most dangerous frontier. The Ninth Legion had survived countless wars. They had marched beside Julius Caesar, endured the rebellion of Boudica, and defended Britain for generations. There was no sign of panic, no desperate retreat, no empire in crisis. To the people living in Roman Britain, the Ninth Legion was exactly where it had always been, standing guard, protecting Rome's northern frontier. Then, around the year AD 108, the Ninth Legion left behind what would become its final confirmed trace. At Eboracum, Roman builders carved an inscription into stone, recording construction work carried out by Legio IX Hispana. To the workers who carved those words, it was nothing more than another official record. No one could have imagined that centuries later, historians would study that single inscription, searching for answers it could never provide. And then, no emperor announcing the destruction of a famous legion, no desperate message asking for reinforcements. The records simply stopped. It wasn't obvious at first. Years passed, then more years. Only later did historians realize something impossible. The Ninth Legion had vanished from history. To solve that mystery, we have to follow the evidence, one clue at a time. At first, no one noticed. The Roman Empire continued to expand. New roads were built, fresh campaigns were launched, merchants filled the markets. Life across the empire carried on, as if nothing had happened. But somewhere, something had changed forever. Then, a new legion arrived in Britain, Legio VI Victrix, an experienced force transferred from Germania. Its destination? The great fortress at Eboracum. the very fortress that had belonged to the Ninth Legion. Military bases changed hands from time to time. That alone wasn't unusual, but historians eventually noticed something deeply unsettling. The Ninth Legion wasn't transferred to another recorded fortress. It wasn't listed guarding another frontier. It simply wasn't anywhere. The Romans recorded almost everything: victories, defeats, construction projects, military appointments, even routine administrative orders. Yet, after the early 2nd century, the name of Legio IX Hispana simply vanished from the surviving record. No farewell, no official explanation, no final chapter. Think about that for a moment. Nearly 5,000 professional soldiers, trained to conquer kingdoms, equipped with the finest weapons Rome could provide, commanded by experienced officers, supported by one of the most powerful empires in history. How could an entire legion simply disappear without a confirmed battlefield, without a mass grave, without a single surviving account explaining what became of them? For nearly 2,000 years, historians, archaeologists, and military experts have searched for the answer. Some believe the ninth was destroyed in Britain, others argue it marched east, never to return, and a few believe the truth may still lie buried beneath the soil of an ancient battlefield, waiting to be discovered. But before we examine those theories, we must follow the evidence exactly as historians do. Whatever had happened to the Ninth Legion, Rome could not ignore the growing unrest in Britain. The northern frontier had become increasingly unstable. Raids continued, tribal resistance refused to disappear, and the empire realized its grip on Britain was beginning to weaken. In time, a new legion arrived from Germania Inferior, Legio VI Victrix. Its destination was Eberacum. Its arrival marks a significant turning point. The ninth was gone, and another legion had taken its place. Not long afterward, Emperor Hadrian personally traveled to Britain. Ancient sources describe serious military problems across the province, and Hadrian came to restore order. His visit would forever change the landscape of Roman Britain. Soon, construction began on one of Rome's greatest engineering achievements, Hadrian's Wall. Stretching across northern Britain, it became the empire's permanent frontier. Whether the disappearance of the Ninth Legion played any direct role remains unknown. Together, these events reveal one undeniable truth: Britain had become one of Rome's greatest military challenges, and somewhere within that uncertainty, the fate of the Ninth Legion was lost. But were these events connected or part of a much bigger story? The evidence gives us no clear answer, and that's where the mystery begins. For nearly 2,000 years, historians have searched for the truth, following every clue and questioning every record. So, what did they find?